Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Scaled, where we're going to look at last night's episode of Monday Night Raw from Philadelphia. We kick things off with an enormous ovation for Roman Reigns, who comes out and says that there's really only one thing that he wants, and then proceeds to call out Seth Rollins. We're left to assume that Roman's wanting that Universal Championship match against Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, but instead he tells Seth that he wants to put the band back together and reunite the Shield one last time. Seth is hesitant at first, but eventually the crowd gets him to agree to put the band back together, and so Roman calls out Dean Ambrose. Once Ambrose comes out, he's attacked from behind by Elias, who then is chased to the back by Roman and Seth. Given this segment a 7, the promos were cut well by Roman and Seth. Roman's finally getting the ovation that WWE wants him to have, rightfully so, after everything that he's been through over the last 6 months. Then we go backstage with Baron Corbin, Bobby Lashley, and Drew McIntyre, as they all have their own little piece to say about the Shield and everything that just transpired. Well, something kind of interesting happens next. We're told that these three men are going to be in a 6-man tag team match against Finn Balor, Kurt Angle, and Braun Strowman. Finn Balor comes out, and then it goes to commercial. That's where Kurt Angle comes out. We come back from commercial. Baron Corbin, Bobby Lashley, and Drew McIntyre have all come out. And then Braun Strowman comes out. This makes no sense. The order of entry makes no sense here. I'm giving this a 5.5. It was actually an entertaining match. It was just, the entrances that kind of threw me off, and the fact that referee plainly saw Lio Rush getting involved in the match 2 or 3 different times, and yet just totally ignored it, and didn't even bother throwing Lio out of the match. I'm going to give this a 5.5. The best part about this match was when Braun Strowman just ran right around the ring and bulldozed Lio Rush right into the barricade. Next up, we get another backstage segment with Heavy Machinery being shown footage of the Ascension, the B Team, and Ryder and Hawkins all making fun of Otis backstage. This leads to Otis using his actual voice and not his funny voice to talk about how his feelings are hurt. I'm going to give this a 4.5 because it was better than the segment that they had last week with the Ascension, but it was still just kind of weird. Also, last week I mentioned how the Natalya versus Riot Squad matches were getting a little old, and that's true, they are, but this match between Natalya and Ruby actually wasn't too bad. I'm giving it a 5. Of course, we had Lacey Evans coming out. Again, still not getting any type of information on what's going on with her. We're showing footage of Batista returning to Raw last week and attacking Ric Flair, and we're given one of the best segments of the night, in my opinion, which is Triple H coming out and cutting a pretty good promo. Giving this segment an 8. It did get a little personal, I thought, at some points, but I understand that's kind of the point of this particular match, this particular rivalry leading into WrestleMania. Because Triple H and Batista have such a long history, they have to make it personal. I mean, actually, come to think of it, it's about a 15-year history there. Evolution was formed in 2003. So yeah, that's pretty crazy. Prior to Triple H cutting his promo, Batista appeared on the big screen on Instagram, cutting a promo of his own, where he talks about how much he hates Philly and didn't want to be there tonight. Good promo from Batista, of course, and we will apparently be seeing Batista next week on Raw as he comes face to face with Triple H. Backstage, Charlie goes to Stephanie, and Stephanie says that the Raw Women's Championship is vacant, and that at Fastlane we're going to get Becky versus Charlotte, and the winner is going to be the new champion. I'm going for a 4. I didn't really care for this segment. Backstage, Roman finds Dean in one of those types of places that they used to be in when they used to film the videos way back when they debuted as the Shield, and even makes a comment, hey, I thought we were past hanging out in places like this. I'm going to give this a 6. Roman's still trying to get the Shield to reunite, but Dean's not too sure on where he stands with it. Up next, we have a gauntlet match, which allows Heavy Machinery to truly demonstrate what they're capable of. They take out the B Team, they take out the Ascension, and they take out Hawkins and Ryder in that order. Now, yes, this does bury these other 3 teams, but at this point, Heavy Machinery needs to be the team that is built up. I'm giving this a 7. Yes, this was about 2 months too late, but at least they're finally doing something to make Heavy Machinery look good. So throughout the night, we get a few segments with WrestleMania correspondents Colin Jost and Michael Chi. I guess these guys are from Saturday Night Live. Not too familiar with them. I'm gonna combine all their segments together and give it a 4. I thought it was pretty lousy. The first one was with Stephanie. The second one they had featured EC3 basically standing in the same pose in the background for about 5 minutes. Also had Titus O'Neil in that one. And then the final one featured Braun Strowman choking out one of the guys. Don't know who. After that, we're showing a video package of Tori Wilson, who will be inducted into this year's Hall of Fame. Congratulations to Tori. This next segment I'm going to give a 6.5. It's basically Charlotte cutting one of her heel promos on Becky, who she refers to as being ignorant in how she knows she's going to sign the piece of paper that Stephanie wants Becky to sign that would allow her to compete this Sunday at Fastlane. Then we got Seth Rollins going to Dean Ambrose backstage in a different area. I'm going to give this 5, not quite as entertaining as the Roman Reigns one because it made a little more sense with Roman, not so much with Seth and what Seth was saying to Dean in the segment. So Dean just walks away and comes out for his match with Elias, who is already out there, who has already been out in front of the crowd singing a song called How I Know I'm in Philly, where he has just ragged on all of Philly for about 3 minutes. During the match, Dean's favoring his back from when Elias smashed a guitar over him earlier in the night. This eventually does cost him the match, and Elias goes back to the back, and then Roman and Seth come out and ask Dean, you know, what's his decision going to be, basically. But Dean just walks away, goes into the crowd, and then Baron Corbin, Drew McIntyre, and Bobby Lashley come out. They talk some smack and eventually surround the ring and attack Roman and Seth. This leads to Dean coming back, making the save, and officially putting the Shield back together. Giving this segment an 8. It's confirmed later in the night that we are going to get the Shield versus Bobby Lashley, Drew McIntyre, and Baron Corbin at Fastlane in a 6-man tag team match. Next up is Sasha Banks versus Tamina. Giving this a 4. The match was what it was. It was to progress the feud between Sasha and Bayley and Tamina and Nia, leading to their match at Fastlane. Tamina did get the win here, which was interesting to see because I don't know when the last time I saw Tamina won a singles match was. Ricochet and Aleister Black versus the Revival for the Raw Tag Team Championships. The Revival won via disqualification because of interference from former champs Bobby Roode and Chad Gable. Giving this a 4.5, and the only reason it's getting that high of a rating is because of the in-ring action from Ricochet, Aleister, and the Revival. I mean, good match until it was interrupted. But it makes no sense as to why a newly formed team from NXT that just announced they were going to be in the Dusty Rhodes Classic next week to get an NXT Tag Team title shot is suddenly getting a Raw Tag Team title shot after only being on Raw for 3 weeks. And after only being a tag team for 2 weeks. It just doesn't make very much sense. In the final segment of the night, we have Stephanie bringing out Charlotte and Becky, so that way they can make their match official at Fastlane for the vacant Raw Women's Championship. Becky does come out and sign this wholehearted agreement thing, sheet of paper that Stephanie wants her to sign. Then we see Ronda Rousey making her way to the ring. Now, I just have one question. Where in the hell has this Ronda Rousey been? This is the Ronda Rousey that we've needed for the last year. Where's she been? This Ronda Rousey was awesome. She came in, cut a terrific promo for the first time ever, and just annihilated Charlotte and then Becky. Just tossed Becky all around the ring, beat the holy hell out of her. This is the Ronda that we've needed for the last year. Last week, it was reported that we could give our thanks to Bruce Pritchard for the closing segment with Batista. I have a feeling that this segment here was also Bruce Pritchard. Big props to Bruce for all the terrific work that he's doing on Raw these last 2 weeks since he's been back. I mean, my God, he is a genius. He's amazing. Giving this segment a 9.5 to finally see Ronda play a version of herself is awesome. It's what we've needed. Only other small thing I gotta mention is as the show was coming to a close, you could hear somebody telling Ronda, hey, hold your title up. I'm thinking it was one of the photographers or one of the camera guys, because they were telling her to hold the title up, and she did it, and pointed to the WrestleMania sign as the show was going off the air. So yeah, I just want to mention that. Overall, Raw is going to get a 5.83 for the week. Overall, Raw is going to get a 5.83 for the week. And hey guys, I will see you tomorrow for another episode of Scaled for SmackDown Live. Go ahead, hit like, subscribe, and visit me over on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Patreon. Appreciate you guys. Have a great week.